Hi guys, welcome to the workshop. Those of you that have seen the mini-series I've just completed on the garden makeover and lean-to build will remember that in the last video I said I was going to do a quick rundown of the materials that I used to build the lean-to, explain a little bit about the way I built it and why, and also give you the overall cost of the build. So this video is going to be exactly that. So for anyone that hasn't actually seen the videos on the garden makeover and lean-to build, I would highly recommend going back, watching the videos, and then you'll know a bit more about what I'm talking about in this video. So the video is only going to concentrate on the lean-to itself, and I'm not going to be adding the prices of the hardcore or compact to hire. I'm simply going to be doing the lean-to. So before I get into the video, there was a few things that I needed to think about when purchasing all the materials. One was the lengths of timber. Now, because it was going to be 5 meters by 3 meters, I knew the dimensions. Obviously the front and rear plate were going to be longer, but rather than buy different lengths of materials, I decided to stick with 3 meter lengths, and it just made it that little bit easier when purchasing the timber. And that way I was working on the fact that most of like the offcuts from the front and rear plate could also be used as noggins later on in the build. The other thing I needed to take into account was the size of the roof and sheets. Now, I'd already kind of made my mind up that I wanted to use the polycarbonate roofing sheets, but obviously they come in many different lengths and widths. So it was a case of sitting down and working out what would be the most economical way to purchase the materials. By that I mean you can either have narrower sheets, which will be slightly less expensive, but then the more sheets you have, the more glazing bars you're going to need for joining the sheets together. Whereas if you go for slightly wider sheets, they might cost a little bit more, but you'll need less glazing bars. So you've kind of got to shop around and work out what the best fit is for your job. So enough of me yakking, let's get on with the video. Hope you enjoy it. So I purchased 14 3 meter lengths of kiln dried treated C24 graded timber, 3 4x4 fence posts at 2.7 meters long, some anchor bolts to attach it to the house, and some 4x4 post support brackets so I could keep the posts above ground level to prevent rot. Coach bolts I had from another project, a bit too long but I can cut them down. A bag of Blue Circle concrete, 4 bags of ready mixed ballast to fix the posts in place, a 5 litre tub of Ronseal Fence Life Plus Tudor Black Oak for all the timber, 2 boxes of Spectra timber fixing screws with hex head, some joist hangers which I had left over from the decking I built at the bottom of the garden, 4 twin wall polycarbonate roofing sheets, 5 glazing bars, and end caps, a bag of 10 fixing buttons, 2 3 meter lengths of F-profile for the outer edges, and some 50mm plastic top nails to fix that in place, some drip trim to go on the front of the sheets, some solvent-free clear silicone to fill up all the fixing holes, some Bostik flashband primer to help the flashing tape stick to the brickwork, the flashband itself, and some galvanised twist nails for the joist hangers. Right, so I know when it comes to setting out your locations for your posts, there's plenty of equipment and scientific ways of doing that. You've got to remember, I'm a DIYer. I haven't got any laser equipment, and even if I did have, knowing my luck, I'd still concrete them in the wrong place. So because my neighbour's house sticks out further forward than ours, I was able to bolt the rightmost rafter to the house, clamp some scrap pieces of wood to the fence to support the weight of the rafter, and then clamp the post to the rafter, allowing it to drop down into the hole with the bracket attached, and then I could concrete that one in. And then once that was dry, I used my step ladder and clamped the middle post inside the step ladder, made sure the bracket at the bottom was just above ground level, attached one half of the front piece and made sure that was level and equal distances from the house, and then concreted that one in. And then I repeated the process for the opposite corner by attaching the end rafter and the other front section and clamping the post in between my step ladder and making sure it was sat just above ground level. I could then concrete that one in, and that gave me the outer structure for the lean-to. Right, so once the outer frame was done, I could then start putting in the joist hangers and cutting the rafters down to their final lengths. So I first cut a 10-degree angle on one end of the rafters to allow for my slope. Then I could mark out the length I needed and cut the same angle on the opposite end. And for those eagle-eyed viewers that have realised I've only put joist hangers on one end, that is because of the angle on the end of the rafters. You'll notice because it slopes down from the higher side, you'll end up with a slight gap between the hanger and the rafter, but you don't really notice it at the high end. But because at the lower end, the rafter slopes up and away from the hanger, you'll notice there's a small gap at the front. Now, that's not a big issue, and it would still be okay. I just didn't like the way it looked, so opted for 350mm long timber screws through the front plate and into each rafter. Then I could just start fitting the glazing bars to the rafters, and you'll note that I've got one on both outer rafters, and then I've got them on alternative ones. And the reason for that is obviously you only need them at the side of the sheet, but then you need a rafter to help support the weight of the sheet in the middle. So that's another thing I forgot to mention, the fact that depending on what thickness of sheet you go for, you have to check the span tables to see what it can safely span without needing additional support. Hence why I've got a rafter running through the middle of each sheet. So the one remaining question is, how much did the lean-to cost? And the grand total is £594.08, which I'm sure you'll agree is a fantastic price. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little update video. I will be back in the workshop making a mess of something in the very near future, so look out for the next video. As always, I want to thank my regular subscribers for tuning in and supporting the channel. Welcome any new subscribers that have joined recently. And if you're watching this video for the first time and you're not yet a subscriber, then why not become one? Hit the subscribe button, tap the bell icon, and you'll be notified of all my future uploads. So until then, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers for watching, guys.